Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you in part by McDonald Muffler, the Muffler Mafia, based out of Mobile, Alabama. They're a family-owned and operated muffler shop specializing in converters, shocks, and so much more. You need to give those guys a call. That is McDonald Muffler, the Muffler Mafia, Mobile, Alabama. I'm your host, Thomas Faddish, alongside two of the same short track guys in the studio as always. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 Can'tQuitFishing.com Sportsman and 2021 Sportsman Champion, and Ted Baber of Ted Baber Video Productions. What's up, guys?
Greetings.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, we got a big doubleheader this weekend. We're going to call it a doubleheader, but we're going to in their studio. But we've got the Pro Late model, Alan Turner, number 3, and they're going to go to Mobile and do the same thing over again. Man, that's going to be a big weekend.
Back to back.
Good show, I guarantee you. It's going to be a good one. We're going to be in the Sportsman, so we'll see what happens. Saturday night in Mobile.
Let the dirty side drag.
Yeah, let the rough side drag. That's it. Well, we found a problem, so I'm hoping that now the thing won't push like a dump truck.
Well, that'd be good.
Yeah, it would be. That'd be great.
Can we talk about that problem?
Well, yeah. Well, it was a while back. I had about 2 races ago. I had a problem with ball joint. Inner bearing come apart. So we had to change the spindle. I borrowed a spindle from someone, but I didn't know that the top part of the spindle had been drilled out for a bigger ball joint. So we bolted to get the racetrack in a hurry. We thought we were okay. Well, all of a sudden I noticed I don't have the camber gain that I had, and the car just pushes and it just does weird stuff, and we couldn't figure it out. Well, the other night in the shop, I pulled the right front apart, and sure enough, the ball joint taper has been drilled for a bigger ball joint, so the ball joint's bottoming all the way out when it's tightened up, so it has no ball or no joint. It's just bound up. And plus it's moving around. Oh, it was ridiculous, man. When I saw that, I just about was like, really? So we fixed it. We put a different spindle and changed a couple things, and hopefully this time when we go over there, the thing will turn in the center and we'll run pretty good, because we were at Pensacola, we were in the 19s every single race, and the last one we couldn't get out of our own way. So, I think we found it. And like I said, Mobile's for funsies right now. I like racing over. I like racing for Eddie, and I look forward to having some fun. We're going to put 2 tires on it on the right side and let her eat and see what happens.
Yeah, you don't have anything going on locally in their backyard at Five Flags, so you will participate and have some fun over in Mobile, along with their local classes too. And I like to see this back-to-back thing here with Five Flags and Mobile getting back together. It's almost like we put hands together again.
Well, there used to be in the 80s and the 90s, they had the All-Pro Super Series, and they'd run a doubleheader Friday night Pensacola, Saturday night in Mobile, and that was a big deal. That was a really big deal back then. And hopefully we can bring that back. I hope that Eddie and Tim will work together and try to get rules package for all the classes together where we can all run together and everybody can be competitive, and maybe we can work things out. I don't know, but I think Eddie McDonald's got a lot of good ideas. Yeah. Eddie's got the money to put it up. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, several years ago, Chase Elliott did a back-to-back over there between here and there. It was actually the Friday night got rained out, so they ran Saturday and Sunday, and he won both races. He was excellent.
I remember that. Chase, poor Chase ran out of gas this weekend. Oh, that poor dude, he's suffering. But he broke his leg early in the year. That hurts you. But we're not a Cup podcast, so we can just mention Chase because he was a short track. He still is. Yeah. He still is. When Berlin, he finished second to our boy Bubba Pollard. So Bubba spanked him again. That's another double whammy on him. But anyway, it's going to be a good night of racing. Mobile's been packing the grandstands. Let's do it again this week. Pensacola, bring a friend, go to the racetrack. Let's watch some good racing, because I'm telling you, the Pro Late models used to be terrible racing. Now they get it on, and it's a good show.
Yeah, and they're putting specials together. If you haven't noticed here, since Mobile has come back to life, if anybody is listening and do not know this, if you take your ticket from Friday night to Saturday night in Mobile, you have a chance to win $1,000 as a fan. So they're putting the ticket together, and I do understand that you can use your pit band. If you take that over Saturday night to Mobile, they will also issue a ticket for that, and you will be eligible for that fan $1,000 bonus. So not just the driver's increase in purse, but they're giving the fan away $1,000.
Well, so I'm a driver fan also. I'm going to turn mine in and try to get my $1,000. I mean, I win a race, but that'd be nice to walk out with a cool $1,000 in your hand.
Yeah, I meant drivers that are in the event.
I know what you're saying.
You'll be eligible, Jim.
I know.
Because I know you'll be there.
Eddie's doing a great job, and I like I said, I hope him and Tim and Stan and Montgomery work together, maybe John and Opp, let's put together a street stock series that's not only affordable, but everybody can go race each track and still be competitive. We still need tech. We got to find somebody that's willing to look at race cars.
Yeah.
We don't have that yet, but moving on from there, we got plenty of other races across the country that's going to be awesome this weekend. So.
Yeah, and one of those you just mentioned name with Bubba Pollard. He part of him is being on our studios, the Crisp Motorsports Park at Cordele, the Southern Super Series, and I think we have some results from that.
I think we do. I think that was the one that the Jake and Jake show wound up at the very end as Jake Garcia comes out on the top end. He didn't lead a whole lot of the race. Michael Hind actually took that honor, and Stephen Nassy was up there for a while, and just everybody we talk about a lot. Let's just run through the results and let's see what happens. As we said, it was Jake Garcia, Jake Finch, Gio Ruggiero third, Stephen Nassy fourth, Michael Hind, who, as I mentioned, led quite a bit of the race, wound up fifth, Colin Allman, Cody Crucker, Hunter Wright, Jackson Boone. I'm doing my best, Robbie.
Yeah, you did good there.
That was a good one.
He stuck it out there. Dylan Bigley rounded up the top 10, and then kind of uncharacteristically, Matt Craig in 11th, Dustin Dunn in 12th, Ryan Herbert in 13th, Jet Nolan, who we've talked about quite a bit here recently, 14th, Stuart Dutton, Michael Goddard, A.J. Waller, and then our boy had a little bit of a difficulty of what we understand it was a mechanical issue. Bubba Pollard, 18th, John Kaufman, 19th, George Gorman, 20th, Billy Van Meter, 21st, and Tony Elrod, unfortunately, had some major difficulties, wound up at the very tail end.
Yeah, that's a good place to race. I understand if you go off, you end up in a watermelon patch. That's why it's Watermelon Capital Speedway. That'd kind of make the bosses mad that your watermelons are ripe and you go blasting through there. And,
collect a few on the way out.
Yep, you can't get to smash one. You can't copy what's his name in NASCAR. But yeah, that's congratulations to Jake Garcia, man. He hadn't won one in a while. I know he's been doing some truck racing and stuff. And man, that young man's got a ton of talent. He'll be back.
He said he was glad for the opportunity to get out there and get, whenever he can to race the short tracks and have some fun. But doesn't happen often, but he enjoys it when he can.
Well, who's his crew chief, Thomas? You know him.
Ricky Turner.
Ricky Turner, the Snowball Derby winner himself, and he's also won it as a crew chief, hasn't he?
With Chase Elliott.
Yep. Chase Elliott, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, what that dude's just multifaceted, and that's cool. He's winning races with these young drivers.
Yeah, and actually, in all reality, if you take that driver suit that Jake wears and put it with Ricky, you'd think it was Jake Garcia.
Yeah.
I promise you, they look very similar. They look like they could be twin brothers, but one's taller than the other.
You don't think that Ricky Turner may have been the mailman and. Not just saying. They look a lot alike. He could be something there. I'm just saying. Anyway,
the talent transferred, right?
Yeah, a lot of those guys that we just mentioned in Cordele will be in action here in the next few races that we're going to go over. I do want to take a little break and go back to the dirt because we have been preaching in several episodes that we were going to touch on dirt, and I just thought this was neat. Last episode we had the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, and this is another one with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, and they went topless at Locust Grove, Batesville Motor Speedway in Locust Grove, Arkansas. They went topless.
The topless 100.
Yeah, and I know everybody's thinking, what? So they didn't wear a fire suit? No. They exposed their cage, if you will. They went around and took their roof off, and it went topless, and it was a topless 100. And Shane McDowell comes away beating Jonathan Davenport, and we all know Jonathan Davenport had a big win Thursday night in the SRX Series over Ricky Thornton Jr., finishing third there in that topless 100. But I just thought that was pretty cool way to bring it up.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Man, talking about Jonathan Davenport, him and Clint Boyer were battling. And Clint Boyer threw a slide job on him, and it almost worked. But Jonathan was like, dude, come on, man. Like, you ain't seen that. Turn back under him and see you later, dude. But, I mean, Jonathan Davenport is one heck of a talented race car driver. I think he would do well in a – he started out in asphalt late models. A lot of people don't realize that's where he started racing, and money got tight. And he went back, started driving one of his granddad's dirt cars, and then he kind of got hooked up with that Longhorn chassis and drove for their cars for a while. That dude, man, I'm telling you, he could probably get in a Cup car and do very well, or a truck or an Xfinity car if they give him a chance. Yeah. So congratulations to him. And the SRX champion this year is Tony Stewart. won his championship again.
Ryan Newman.
Imagine that.
Was it Ryan? It was Ryan Newman. Tony Stewart, it was him were battling. I'm sorry, you're right. Because they were battling for the championship, and Tony had a bad heat race, and it gave Newman the championship.
Yep.
Congratulations to Ryan Newman.
The Rocket Man.
The Rocket Man. You know, that's who Shenard compares me to. He said, you're the hardest. You're the Ryan Newman of Five Flags. You're the hardest sportsman driver to pass. And I kind of chuckled. But congratulations, Ryan. Good job, man. And it's so cool to see those guys racing like that, having fun.
Yes.
Ken Schrader out there having a great time.
No pressure.
No, racing against guys like Marco Andretti and you know, just, I mean, the numerous Indy 500 winners, Daytona 500 winners, Cup champions.
From the entire spectrum of automotive motorsports.
Yeah. They should. I'm with Thomas on that, though. They shouldn't let current Cup drivers drive in that. I don't believe that. I think they need to go back to what they originally started, retired drivers and, you know, one guy, local guy, give him a shot.
I like that a lot better.
You know, because, I mean, look what Bubba did that night. And like I said, if he hadn't cut a tire down, he would have won that second race, guaranteed.
Yeah,
we would have had the fence climber. But, hey, that was pretty awesome that Castro Neves won that race and climbed the fence in Pensacola. So,
Yeah,
you know.
I still wonder about cutting the inside of the tire down. Come on.
Yeah, you never know. Somebody might have crawled in there and went, you never know.
Well, we'll have to wait until next season because that SRX series is only 6 weeks long in the heat of the summer, and we'll have to wait till next year to see if they get a hold of all these changes that we're implementing via Jim Pokrant. Then we may see that you know, Jim Pokrant may be in the Cedar one next year.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
We will see. It all depends on money too, because you know me, I ain't got much.
Well, we can go to, let's see, let's travel to Michigan. The Masters of the Pros, 184, we touched on that last week. This is the JEGS CRA All-Star Tour event at Owasso Speedway, and Chase Berta. I know we've mentioned him. He's, along with Kyle Crump and Carson Hocevar and all those guys, the list of drivers that we've mentioned, Steve Dorr. Chase Berta ends up winning with Dan Leake finishing second, Steve Dorr, Michael Simcoe, and David Leif. The top five. That was a big event. They had over 21 late models up there running the 184 laps in Michigan. Congratulations, Chase Berta. We don't speak much about you, especially in Victory Lane, but I know it's a special one for you. It's a long time coming. Congratulations, and many more to come, I'm sure.
Yep. Let's hope he wins some more races so we can talk about him some more.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be in this next big one we have a lineup to, and there is a field of cars that I think are still piling up. And how many, Ted, did we say there were?
68 so far.
68 cars in this big one.
Of cars.
In the Snowball Derby of the Northeast.
Yes, indeed. It's the Oxford 50th annual Oxford 250.
Yeah.
Huge number of cars, and it's going to take a lot of air to get through this one, but let's run them. I'd start with Jeremy, and these are done by car numbers, no particular order other than car numbers, so let's not get excited about this. Jeremy Wharf, Brody Wharf, brothers, both from Bath, Maine, could be. Jimmy Renfrew Jr., Stephen Chicoine, Scott Moore, Kevin Kimball, Kyle D'Souza, Evan Hallstrom. I have a TBD here for Landshark Performance. We'll figure him out here in a little while. Nick Cusack, Travis Bazell, Ben Rowe, Travis Benjamin. I wonder if he's any relation to Kyle Benjamin.
No,
I don't know.
No, Kyle Benjamin's from down south. And I would tend to doubt it.
Yeah, this guy's from Morrill, Maine. So
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. Curtis Jerry, Glenn Luce, Fred Lagoy, Shane Tapter with that name sounds very familiar to me. I know we've talked about him before in this area. Calvin Rose Jr., Alan Tardif, J.D. Thurlow, Kate Ray, Dennis Spencer Jr., Derek Griffin, the name we're real familiar with, Corey Abubar, Cassius Clark, somebody else we're also very familiar with.
Yep.
Scott McDaniel, Josh St. Clair, Mike Hopkins, Travis Stearns, Eddie McDonald, Michael Scorzelli, Justin Larson, Joe Pastor, Dave Farrington Jr., Lonnie Somerville, Second Breath, Mike Rowe, Sean Knight, and then our boy Bubba Pollard, Roland Robinson Jr., Austin Terrace, Nick Jenkins, Ryan Robbins, Garrett Lamb, Max Cookson, Tracy Gordon, Trevor Sanborn, Austin Terrio, a name we're also very familiar with, Gabe Brown, Andy Shaw, Colby Benjamin, Cole Butcher, Johnny Clark, Jimmy Hebert, DJ Shaw, Tim Brackett, TJ Brackett, Kyle Salini, Gary Drew, Ryan Coon, Scott Robbins, Joey Doran, Ryan Moore, Dan Winter, Matt Dow, Brandon Barker, Jeff Taylor, Garrett Hall, and Ben Ashline. Good Lord, that's a
Yeah.
No
It's a
kidding.
good thing there's only 68.
Yeah, I'd be out of air quickly. It's a ridiculous and a good group of quality drivers as well. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, there's only going to take a few of those, too.
Right.
That's
yeah.
the sad thing that
Yep.
a lot of those 68 drivers are going to be going home. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
It's probably going to be just like when you're qualifying for the Derby. Everybody's going to be just doing everything they can to get there. But
Well, that race in the 80s, that was, all the Allisons and, Dale Earnhardt and all those guys would go up there and run the Oxford 250. And, it was 150 cars trying to make the field. They ran heat races. They would they would qualify and then run heat races and then a last chance race.
yeah.
And they'd run like 10 or 15 heat races and 2 last chance races.
Lord.
It was a stacked field of cars. They were old Busch Grand National cars back then, but man, that's just awesome. Bubba's got one. I'd like to see him get another.
Yep.
yeah.
Why not?
Oxford, yeah, the Oxford 250 at Oxford Plains Speedway. We were going to touch that. They actually race this weekend. We'll get to that Wednesday. Real quick, the Cars Tour late model stocks at Wake County this weekend. The SRL National Tour at Lebanon, 145-44 actually. In Lebanon, Missouri, the Salute to 75 is actually happening tomorrow night. And then the Oxford 250 this weekend. That's going to sum it up really for the oncoming races that we'll go over Wednesday. And if you haven't noticed, within the last 6 or 7, 8 weeks, we have had a new segment that's been attached to Short Track Guys podcast. It is the Story in Bleich Roofing Crown Vic Spotlight Driver of the Week. And we have a guest that's been patiently waiting on the phone. We have tried for a couple of days to get him on, and he has been waiting. He's made a little room in his schedule to be with us to talk a little bit about his success, and we have talked about him in the last couple of episodes pretty heavily because of his success. And I would like to welcome the Driver Spotlight of the Week driver of the 97, Hunter Lambert. Hunter, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking time out.
Thanks, guys. This show's pretty awesome. I listen to it all the time. It's a great thing y'all got going.
Appreciate that.
Well, tell us a little bit about the 97 and your success, not just the Crown Vics, but you've run late models. You've run just about everything with wheels.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of experience in basically every kind of car except the sprint car. I'd love to do that one day, by the way. But, yeah, Ryan owns the Crown Vic that I race. So, first and foremost, I got to thank him. He basically does everything for me, and I just drive it for him. We've had a lot of success with it. I was doing real good in Mobile the last race, and we had something happen. I'm not sure what yet, but we're gonna take it back Friday and see if we got it fixed. But yeah, I've, believe it or not, had just as much fun in that Crown Vic as I have anything else I've ever raced. It's a very good group of guys to race with, and yeah.
What's the drivability like as far as that car compared to some of the ones you're able to really set up a little bit more?
It's very different. I've never drove anything that wasn't really made to go around the racetrack, so it's definitely been a learning curve getting used to the way that car feels, and especially like in Mobile, we run a totally different line than you would in any other class. So.
Yeah, it's different over there. Hey, let me ask you this. You set the track record in Mobile and you got tossed for something. Tell our listeners what happened.
Yeah, I went, Ryan was racing with his kids at Sunny South, and I stayed over there as long as I could to help him out. And I got to the track, literally as they were just about pulling on for qualifying, and I forgot that I put all my tools and my spare tire in my trunk. And, we went to roll through tech, and they didn't even find it. We told them before we even got there that, it was back there, and we had just forgot. And they weren't too happy about it.
No doubt.
Well, we kind of came up with an idea on the last show that maybe do a Crown Vic challenge where you make a lap, you come in, you have to open the trunk, take out the spare, take out the jack the car up, swap the tire, put the trunk in the jack back in the trunk, shut the trunk, and make another lap. And, do it for a little extra money. Say they put up $250 for the fastest. You get two people. You get the driver and one person has to undo the jack the car up, change the tire, put everything back in. We're going to talk to Ryan about that and see if maybe we can get something going with that. I think that would be fun for the crowd to watch.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
It'd be something different that you ain't never seen before.
Pit stop challenge.
Yeah, have a Crown Stock pit stop challenge. I think it would be a lot of fun. I mean, man,
Yeah.
Me and you have run door to door a lot. I mean, in the sportsman division. And, man, as one of the cleanest drivers I've ever raced against. I mean, and I've seen you crash. We both crashed. Everybody's had all kinds of problems. But I tell you what, man, as far as a compliment, watching you drive that Crown Vic, let me tell you something, dude. You get it done in that car, and you're fun to watch in that thing.
I appreciate that. Yeah, me and you have had our fair share of really good nights and really bad nights.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just the way it goes. But all in all, I think I've been racing with you ever since I started racing, just about. And you have raced me as hard as anybody ever has, and some of my greatest battles are with you. And going back to what Shayna said about you, you are literally the Ryan Newman of short track racing.
Yeah, Shayna told me, said, man, you're the hardest person to put a bumper to. He said, every time I hit you, you just gather it up and keep rolling. But yeah, I remember one night, it was like the first season I raced against you. We went door to door for like 7 laps for the lead.
Yeah, I think that was my first or second year racing. And man, I don't know how I was hanging on that outside, but man, we had a blast that night.
Oh yeah, we did, man. And I know you got that Outlaw, and I know, man, you've had some bad luck with that car. I hate that. I'd love to see you win a race in that Outlaw car, because when you first showed up running Outlaw, you were doing pretty sporty.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that's been my most favorite car that I've ever drove. Them cars are just so much fun to drive, and they handle so good. And yeah, when I first started, I was running real good, and I've ran good lately, just not as much as I would like to have. But that class is just really tough, and you can be up front one night and the next week go out there and you can be running dead last. They're just that touchy. And, I mean, as aggravating as that can be sometimes, it also makes you really appreciate running good in that class. So,
yeah, I'm sure. That class is a lot of fun to watch. But the Crown Stocks, to me, are the best class to watch racing, because the guys in the front are battling, the guys in the middle are battling, the guys in the back are battling, and everybody's bouncing off each other. And, man, the crowd loves to watch you guys. And, I mean, that one night that you and your dad showed up in Mobile, the last one you won, showed up, like, watched the heat races on TV, your dad said, and y'all got in the truck and drove over, unloaded, and come from the back and won the feature.
Yeah, we were sitting there watching the races, and we had just got off work, and we thought we could still make it, and we just barely made it, but it was worth it. But I totally agree with you that I have the most fun watching that class before I started racing it. They put on a show every time they race. It doesn't matter what night or where it's at.
Yeah, I say this every time just about, but for 3 years since we've been doing this podcast, our 3rd season, I've been preaching a Crown Vic class. Why don't we do this? And Tim finally did it. I'm not taking responsibility, but the point is, we needed something like that, something that's not super expensive, that anybody can find an old Crown Vic cop car, put a cage in it, play with it a little bit, and go out there and have fun. It's got to be a fun class. And at first I didn't agree with letting guys like you race in that division, but I agree with it now, because it gives the guys that are rookies somebody to look up to, somebody to follow, somebody to learn from. You and Dave Man, I'm telling you, you two guys have been racing for a while, and both y'all put on a show. And Tyler Young is another one. Man, he's tough. Y'all get up front and get to battling. It's a great race.
Yeah, I believe it or not, I was totally against, experienced drivers being in it too. And Ryan came to me about driving his, and I told him, I was like, I'll do it for one race, but that's all I want to do. And I just have so much fun in that car. I can't stop racing it. And but like you said, I kind of look at it now as me racing out there. It gives them guys someone that knows what they're doing and they can learn off of. And I try to help out as many of them as I can. There's just so many people that show up to race them. It's hard to help everyone. But if they come, asking for advice, or, even if they're trying to figure out the lines and stuff, I'm always more than willing to help them. And it's a great class. A lot of people get it confused. It's not a beginner class. It's a
cheap class. Affordable class. There you go.
Right.
And the one thing about it with you, and you'll agree with me on this, I love to watch you guys race, and I think that experience helps. The cars are tough to drive, and you teach them how to learn. But, you're a veteran now. You're no longer the rookie that, the kid versus the old guy when we were racing against each other hard like we used to. It was the kid versus the old man. Now you're a grizzly veteran, and you can win races in anything you get in. You won in Sportsman, you won in that Crown Vic class, and, you're a joy to watch.
I appreciate that. I will say, it's definitely not a cheap class to get into. Anything racing is expensive, but it's the least expensive class out there. And mainly just, tires is what's so expensive. I wish we could put more camber in the front and stuff. I know they're trying to keep it, as stock as possible, but they've already, unfortunately, gotten further away from that than they needed to. If you enjoy racing and you think, you want to try it, I highly suggest, getting one, or even, there's plenty of guys renting them. So you could even rent one for a race.
Yeah, and then I noticed that Reno Story, Mr. Story, has been auctioning some off too. They've been doing raffles.
That's been pretty cool. I'm all for that. It could always end up somebody who couldn't really afford one. They lucked up and got one, and I think that's a great thing. Good deal.
Yeah, it's a great class. It's growing. It's getting bigger and bigger every time you turn around. Not just our backyard, but all over the country. This class is catching on because there are so many of them available, and it is affordable. It is somewhat of an entry level to most, but it's been exciting to say the least.
Yeah, it's been very exciting. Hopefully, I can continue with my luck. The one thing I really wish I could change right now is the fact that we don't get to race at the Snowball. I think that's a very big mistake on the racetrack's part, but I guess, maybe they got a different outlook on it. I think these guys have showed up every week and supported the track as much as the rest of the classes have, and I think they deserve their one night during the Snowball Derby to, race in front of the big crowd.
Yeah, I agree. Aren't they going to run? Somebody said something about running y'all the night of the preview. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's the plan, but I'm not totally against that. I just feel like you're not going to have, I know they're kind of against, the South Florida cars coming and stuff, but your guys that are further away, they'd be more willing to travel to the Snowball and stay, that whole week than to just travel for one day,
I agree. I think they could run y'all on Saturday because there's not going to be that many late models there. They could cram y'all in the infield and have a, early morning Saturday, spectacular race. I agree, but We're not the promoters, dude. That's what stinks, man. We've both been shafted, and it's not good, and sometimes it turns worse. Yeah, but man, you keep plugging away, dude, and I'm proud to know you, proud to race with you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed racing with you since I've started, man. And like I said, some of my best battles have been with you, and we've had some bad nights, but I got a lot of respect for you, and I enjoy racing with you anytime I can.
Well, I appreciate that. Hopefully we'll get to do it again in the sportsman cars here coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Hunter, I appreciate you taking the time out and giving our listeners a little bit more about what Hunter Lambert's all about in that 97 hot rod, regardless if it's a Crown Vic or the truck or late model or whatever you happen to outlaw. We're going to certainly keep an eye out more your success going forward. And we appreciate you taking the time out to spend some time with us, and we will stay in touch for sure.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all doing this podcast.
Well, we appreciate the support, and it's right back at you. Thank you again.
Have a good evening, man.
Y'all too.
All right, that's Hunter Lambert, our story in Bleich Roofing Crown Vic Spotlight Driver of the Week. Hunter Lambert in the 97 here from Pensacola, Florida. He's got one feature win here in our backyard. He's got a feature win over in Mobile. Boy, he drives everything with wheels on it, and he's always going to be someone to reckon with when he shows up.
Oh man, Let me tell you something. That kid right there can wheel a race car. He's beat me a couple of times when it's so frustrating. I'm right there and just can't do anything with him. And we had a big one at the Derby a few years ago, and it was just, hey, look, something broke on his car.
Yeah.
We both went in. It killed both cars. It just stunk because, it hurt both of us. And, man, I'm going to tell you something. That kid's got a ton of talent. He's a heck of a guy to race with. I don't know how many times like I said, we've been door to door for 5 or 6 laps, and neither one of us can gain an edge. And you're just looking out there going, come on, baby. Let's go, But, hey, Hunter, you're a great driver. Enjoy racing with you. Your dad and your whole family's cool. And we look forward to some more beating and banging as the future goes on.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
I almost guarantee it.
Yep, and we'll have results next week on the Oxford 250, the Cars Tour Late Model Stock Class in Wake County, the SRL National Tour Lebanon happening tomorrow night with our boys headlining, I would say, going up and trying to take another. I think he's got one Oxford 250. He's going to go out there for another one.
Yeah, he's going to try.
Yep, he will. And while we're thinking about it, we have our shirts in.
Yes.
So if you would like a Short Track Guys podcast T-shirt, please contact Thomas or myself or Ted.
Yes.
And we're going to have them in the pits, not this Friday, but the next race at Five Lakes. Come down and see the 07 Sportsman. Talk to Thomas, talk to Ted, talk to me, get you a T-shirt and support this podcast and give us a good review if you can. If you got iTunes or if you're on Spotify, you can give us a 5-star. It helps us move up in the charts and helps us get stronger. And the more we can do, the more short tracks we can do, the better it is for you fans and us.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And support your local short track. Get off your butt, put down the phone, put the iRacing rig up for the night, go to a short track, sit in the grandstands or come in the pits and hang out with us. Go short track racing.
Yes, buy a beer or buy a hot dog. Let's do something.
That's it. There. Short track guys. That's what we do this for.
That's what it's all about.
That's it.
All right, guys. It's always a pleasure every week getting to talk short track racing here in our studio. Until next week, I think we've got a sign off of maybe a
1,
2,
3.
Let's go, Brandon.
Good night, everybody.
Be strong, America.
Thanks for listening.